are searching for a desert cooler around 10,000 rupees, chances are you'll come across the Crompton Ozone series. Big tank, honeycomb pads, ice chamber. On paper, it looks like a solid option. But while testing this cooler, I noticed something interesting. The cooling is strong, but there are a few practical things you should know before spending your money. Hi, I am Pooja and welcome to ClearBuy. I spend all my time buying and testing home appliances. TVs, soundbars, washing machines, air conditioners, and yes, air coolers to see how they perform in real life, not just on paper. So you can buy confidently without wasting your money. Everything I share here is from real testing and real experience. Alright, so first impressions. This is a big cooler, stands over 4 feet tall, white and teal ABS plastic body. When I unpacked it, the overall build feels decent, sturdy, no flexing, holds up well. But the finishing? For a cooler with 10,000 rupees, I expected cleaner edges, smoother panel joints and neat finish. It's not bad, just average for the price. It sits on 5 caster wheels with locks on the front too. So placement is easy when it's empty. But here is the thing. Fill that 88-liter tank and this cooler gets seriously heavy. Moving it around after that, possible but not fun. So pick your spot before you fill it up. Now, all of that is secondary because what you are really paying is for cooling. And this is where Crompton actually surprised me. The cooling on this cooler is genuinely excellent. I would go as far as saying for the price. This is one of the best cooling performances I have tested. Even at 10 feet away on high speed, the air throw was still strong enough to feel properly cool. Not just a breeze, actual chilled air reaching you across the room. The honeycomb pads are thick, dense and spread across 3 sides. Water distribution is even. No dry spots, no splashing. And when I dropped ice into the ice chamber on top, the temperature difference was immediately noticeable. That burst of cold air genuinely feels like a different appliance. The tank lasted me roughly 2 days of continuous running without a refill. That's a massive convenience if you don't want to keep topping it for every few hours. Plus, there is a water level indicator on the front, so you always know exactly where you stand. So the cooling is sorted. But here is where it gets interesting. Because what Crompton claims on their listing and what I found in testing, two very different stories. Let's start with air delivery. Every platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Chroma, even Crompton's own website lists this cooler at 4200 cmh. But when I open the user manual that came in the box, it says 2700 cmh. That's a huge difference. The cooler performs well, no doubt, but there is a clear gap between what's marketed and what's officially documented. And then there is room coverage. Crompton says 490 square feet. That's almost a full-sized living room. In my real-world testing, this cooler works beautifully for rooms up to about 200 to 250 square feet. Go beyond that and the cooling drops off noticeably. You'll feel the air but not the chill in the far corners. So if your room is around 200 square feet or smaller, you are golden. But if you are buying this expecting it to handle a 400 square foot hall based on that listing number, temper those expectations. Now, the cooling impressed me. But a cooler is more than just airflow. And there are some real pain points you need to hear before spending your money. First, the water inlet on the front. It's small. You can barely fit a mug through it. And the flap doesn't open smoothly. You have to push and wiggle it every time. That's frustrating. And here is the big one. Every listing says autofill. Amazon, Flipkart, Crompton's website, everywhere. But in reality, there is no hose pipe, no connector included. You are essentially filling this cooler manually. That's misleading and I really wish Crompton was upfront about this. There is also no dedicated overflow outlet. So if you accidentally overfill, water doesn't drain out neatly. And one more, the ice chamber on top. Good that it exists. But the lid is tight and doesn't open or close smoothly. After repeated use, it gets a bit annoying to deal with. These aren't deal breakers individually, but when you add them up, the overall usability feels like it needs more thought from Crompton. So with all that in mind, should you actually buy this? Here is my honest take. If cooling is your priority, and your room is around 200 to 250 square feet, the Crompton Ozone 88 litre delivers. The cooling performance is a solid 10 out of 10. It runs on your inverter at just 190 watts and the tank lasts you days. At 10 to 11,000, the core job of this cooler is done really well. But the experience around that cooling, the small inlet, the misleading autofill claim, the average finishing, that's where Crompton still has homework to do. Cooling? Excellent. Everything else could be better. Along with this Crompton cooler, I'll tag and leave all the best cooler links budget-wise in the description. Please check them out. If this video helped, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps ClearBuy grow and keeps these honest reviews coming. Drop a comment if you have any questions or if there is a cooler you want me to review next. I read every single one and your feedback shapes what I test. Until next time, don't just buy. ClearBuy. See you soon.